Let's go ahead and start on our abdomen in crocodile pose. And we're just going to start by stacking our forearms right on top of each other, our forehead on our backs of our hands, wherever they touch. And then notice if you like to have your legs close together, your big toes touching and your heels wide, or if you'd like to have your legs a little bit wider apart. And then notice again if it feels good to let the toes turn in or the toes turn out. And we're just going to spend a few moments here breathing. And the first thing that I'd like you to do is notice anywhere in your body that you might be holding or you might be gripping, and see if you can relax just a little bit, letting the weight of the bones settle into the floor, the muscles settle around the bones. And then notice if you're holding any tension around your neck, maybe you might want to inch your shoulders a little further away from you. And then just take 3 audible breaths out of the mouth, letting a heavy sigh just send the breath further away from you. And as you take these last 2 big breaths in, start to notice how you can feel really into the abdomen, pressing that down and towards the floor. And then noticing how that creates a bit of spaciousness in the low back. And as you take these last 2 breath cycles here, you might find that you want to allow a slight constriction at the back of your throat. So you can start to invite in your Ujjayi pranayama, creating a centering breath. And as Sandy reminded us, because perfection is not attainable, we're just working to see how even we can make the breath. It might not get 100% there, but that's okay. Letting the inhalation and the exhalation become an equal length. And we're going to try to keep that, or at least become aware of it throughout the remainder of our practice. Now from here, go ahead and cactus your arms out to the side, right and left. If your legs are separate, go ahead and draw them in towards each other. And then we're just going to take 3 sets of these. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, cross your right leg over you and towards the left behind you. And then inhale, you'll come back towards your belly. And then you'll exhale and go to the other side. And we'll just take 3 sets of these. And these are just little movements to wake up a sense of breath and movement, as well as to open up the spine. And then after you've done 3 sets, the next time you find your right leg up and over to the left, you'll just go ahead and stay there. Turn your gaze over towards the right hand. And you might step that right hand in a bit and just press into your left hand, push down into your left elbow and feel into the stretch happening on the front side of your left chest. You can bend that right knee if you need to, or keep the leg straight, but you're just breathing into the front of your chest. And on your next in-breath, go ahead and come back onto your abdomen, replant that right palm, and then exhale, take the left leg up and over you, step the left hand underneath the left elbow, and then you can start to push into those left fingertips as you breathe into the right side of the chest, making sure the gaze is going towards your left hand, and you're just noticing what you notice. Nice job. On your next in-breath, go ahead and come back onto your abdomen. And then as you exhale, you'll just take a moment to pause here. Walk your elbows underneath your shoulders and come into a Sphinx pose position. Now, once you're here, spread wide through your hands, and then inhale, lightly claw the mat to pull your heart forward. And then we're just going to take 10 of these. Exhale, look underneath towards your navel. And these first ones are really small, so the pelvis just stays on the floor initially, and you're just noticing how much movement you've got in the upper spine. And then you'll gradually allow that movement to become as big as it wants to be. But initially, you're just being very, very curious about the small movements that are happening. And just noticing how this feels in the body, in the breath, to move in this way. And you've got about 2 more sets on your own, so you can begin to make this a little bit more active if you'd like, maybe lifting the pelvis and the thighs up and away from the floor, or maybe not. And this will be your last one, and you'll just hold it for one complete round of breath. And then when you're ready, you'll exhale and lower the pelvis down and come back to Sphinx pose. Okay. So from here, take your left hand and you're going to start to thread it underneath your right arm, all the way till the whole arm comes on the floor. And then bring your forehead to the mat. Slide your right knee up towards your left arm, like you're coming to a half tree pose. Yep. And then you can just take a moment to pause and breathe here. If this is working for you, you'll stay right here. Otherwise, you'll bend your long leg, reach your top arm back behind you, and grab the outside edge of the ankle. From here, you can just notice what that gentle quad stretch feels like on the front of your left thigh. And maybe that feels good to you. Maybe you roll a little bit more towards your abdomen to get more of a stretch in a different part of the quad on the left leg. Maybe you start to roll more onto your back to get a twist into the upper spine. But again, you're allowing yourself to notice what feels good to you. So if you're rolling onto your back, you might push down into your head and keep that right knee on the floor, finding what's called twisted cat. Yeah, there you go, Sandy. And you'll just take 2 more breath cycles here, just feeling into what feels good to your body. Yep. And then when you're ready, you'll gently release that back foot, roll onto the abdomen a little bit more, plant that left palm or right palm, and come back into Sphinx pose, sliding your leg back and pausing for a moment. And then we'll go ahead and take the other side. Your right hand threads underneath. You'll come on to your abdomen and then slide that left knee up towards your right arm for a half tree pose. And you'll pause here. If that feels good, just allowing more of your chest to melt onto your right arm to get a stretch across the upper part of your right arm. Or you might bend your right knee, reach your left hand back behind you and grab the ankle. And you'll notice if it feels better for you to slide more out onto your belly, finding a quad stretch on the right leg as well as an opening on the inner left thigh. Or if you want to roll a little bit more towards your back so that you have a twist happening in the upper spine as you do a little quad stretch. And again, we're noticing that perfection isn't the goal here. You're just noticing the sensations, what feels best to you, what feels like it's curious and interesting. And you've got 1 more breath cycle here. And then very gently release that right leg. Roll back onto your abdomen, extend the left leg long, and then come back onto your belly. Cool. Now from here, bring your hands alongside your ribs and come down into a prep for child or for cobra pose. And we're going to pause first. Keep your forehead on the floor. Lift your right leg up and back. Hug all the muscles around that leg and then reach the leg back and put it down. And do the same thing on the left side. Lift the left leg up, hug all the muscles around the bone and reach the leg back and put it down. Do 2 more sets just like that on your own, seeing if you can engage your glutes and your hamstrings and find engagement in the abdominal regions so that the low back remains long. Nice job. From here, go ahead and press into the tops of both of your feet. Lengthen your tailbone back and straighten your legs as best as you can. And then draw the shoulders up towards your ears and draw the shoulders onto your back. On your next in-breath, you'll isometrically pull your hands back to draw your heart and sternum forward to lift the head. And then exhale, lower the chest back down. And you'll just do 2 more sets like that, finding Bhujangasana by strengthening the back body to lift the head. And exhale, lowering down. And the last set on your own breath, continuing to press into the tops of the feet. Nice job. Okay, and lower all the way down. We'll go ahead and add on here. Next, in breath, push down through your hands. Isometrically pull the hands back to pull your heart forward. And then as you exhale, draw the belly in and see if you can lift the chest a little higher as you hug the shoulder blades onto your back. Hover your hands 1 inch up and away from the floor, and then reach through your legs, your toes, reaching them far and back to lift them up. And then see if you can hug those elbows towards each other as you reach the sternum forward, as you lengthen the tailbone back. You might stay right here or swim your arms back behind you to fly like Superman or Superwoman. You might interlace the hands once they get back there, or just stay here for 3, stay here for 2, and stay here for 1. Gently exhale and lower all the way down. Bring your hands alongside your lowest ribs or alongside your ribs and press up to hands and knees. Once you find yourself in hands and knees, take whatever organic movement feels good to you. So you might want to sway, you might want to do some cats and cows, you might want to press back into child's pose, but you're allowing yourself to explore and experiment, giving ourselves permission to remember that we are human. We have the ability to empathize with the experiences of another. We have the ability to creatively think about situations and solutions. We have the ability to learn from our mistakes as well as from the mistakes of others. We've got 3 more breath cycles doing whatever you're doing, exploring the physicality of your human beingness at this moment. And if you've done something one way, please make sure you go the other way to just explore that. Awesome sauce. And then we'll find ourselves in a neutral tabletop position. Walk your knees, ankles, and shins together. Tuck both sets of toes under. And then press your pelvis back towards your heels. Bring your spine up to vertical and sit for a toe squat pose. And once you find yourself in toe squat, go ahead and bring your hands to the back of your head. Hook your thumbs into the back of your occiput. And you're going to inhale and see if you can lift the chest up. And then exhale, just round into the upper back just a bit. And you'll just do 3 more like that. Inhaling, finding a slight upper back bend. And exhaling, rounding just the upper chest. And 2 more on your own. And you might find that you want to walk the fingers a little closer together to hold the head if that feels more supportive to you, or just continue to traction out through the back of the skull. Cool. The next time your head is up, you'll pause there, reach out through the elbows, lengthen down through the waist, and see if you can draw the low belly in. Next exhale, come forward to hands and knees. Bring your tops of the feet to the floor and pitter patter the toes if that feels good to you. Or conversely, you'll shift your weight back and take a counter stretch, stretching the fronts of the shins, knees, and ankles. Nice work, guys. Okay. When you're ready, find yourself on hands and knees. And before we go forward, make sure your blocks are towards the upper corners of your mat, and you might want to pad your knees if your knees are sensitive. Okay. Once you find yourself in a tabletop position, spread wide through your hands. Make sure your hands are directly underneath your shoulders. And then send your right leg long and back behind you. Tuck the toes under, squeeze all the muscles around the bones, and then lift your right leg parallel to the floor. Kick back through your right leg, Push down through both of your hands and see if you can lengthen your tailbone back as you hug your pubic bone in and front ribs up towards the sky. Let's keep all of that. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, bend your knees so your foot reaches up towards the sky. Great. Inhale, lower your knee about an inch. And then exhale, kick your foot and thigh up towards the sky. And you've got about 5 to 10 of these. And you're just keeping that knee bent at a right angle. You might squeeze the heel closer to the glutes if you want a little bit more engagement there. But we're just doing a little bit of work to strengthen the back posterior chain. And we'll take about 3 more sets. The inhale lowers the knee down. The exhale kicks the foot up. And you're continuing to hold, or rather draw the front ribs in and back. Nice job. All right, go ahead and come to stillness. Extend your right leg long and back behind you, hovering it off the floor. And square your hips so the heel reaches straight up, the inner thigh spins up. You might reach your left hand forward to balance for 3, to balance for 2, to balance for 1. Lower the left hand to the floor. Lower the right toes to the floor, and then swim your right foot out to the right until your right foot is in line with your left knee. Spin the outside edge of your right foot to the floor, and notice if you need to tuck your left toes under. And then start to push your bum back towards your left heel until you feel a fun stretch on the inside edge of your right thigh. You might bring forearms to the floor. You might bring head to the floor, but you're pressing your right pinky toe into the floor for dear life and breathing wherever you feel sensation on the inside edge of your right thigh. Big, big steady breaths here. We've got 2 more breath cycles here, noticing where you can soften just a little bit if any muscles don't need to be working. And on your next in-breath, let's go ahead and come forward onto hands and knees once again. Keep that right leg as it is. Make sure your left knee is directly underneath your pelvis, and then bring your spine up to vertical. Hooray! Notice if you want to turn your right toes out a little bit, or if it feels good to keep it exactly as it is. But inhale, sweep your left arm up and overhead. And as you exhale, little side bend over to the right. And we'll just do 3 of these. So you'll inhale and come out. And exhale to the right. And you got 1 more on your own. We're using a little bit of dynamic movement before we hold the shape. So this next time you go into the side bend to the right, you'll pause. Let that right hand rest on the top of the right shin. Press down into your right foot. Squeeze your left butt cheek. And then see if you can wrap your right ribs under, left ribs up. Reach out through your left fingers a bit more and say hello, side body. Next in-breath, left arm reaches up and out to pull the spine up to vertical. And then exhale, both hands come back to the mat. Step your right foot in and take some cats or cows or any organic movement that feels good to you. Back to tabletop. And then we'll go ahead and try the other side. So find yourself in a neutral still point. Send your left leg back behind you. Tuck the toes under and straighten that leg long. Now engage all the muscles around that left leg to lift the left leg up. And then once the left leg is parallel to the floor, see if you can again press down through the hands, draw the front ribs into the back body, and then lengthen your buttocks flesh straight back. Great. Take a big breath in here. Exhale, bend your left knee so the left heel reaches up. And then inhale, lower that knee just an inch. And exhale, kick the whole foot and thigh up to the sky. And you've got about 5 to 10 of these. And you'll notice that this tiny little movement makes the glute just kind of shake and wobble. It's probably because we haven't done this in a while. So just notice what you notice. Seeing if you can keep the head on top of the spine, the front ribs drawing in, and the tailbone lengthening back. Let's do one more set. And then go ahead and come to stillness. Extend that left leg long behind you, parallel to the floor. And then maybe you reach that right arm forward and hover for 3, hover for 2, and hover for 1. Lower the right hand to the floor, lower the left toes to the floor, and swim the left leg out to the left so the left foot is in line with the right knee. Now, once again, press into the left pinky toe. You might curl those back toes under, your right toes under, and then start to press your pelvis back towards your right heel to breathe onto the inside edge of your left thigh. And you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing what you notice. How can you keep a lot of spaciousness still in the spine, in the vertebra, as you stretch on the inside edge of that left leg? Next in-breath, go ahead and come back up with your hands underneath your shoulders. Make sure your right knee is directly underneath your right hip, and then bring your spine up to vertical. Awesome sauce. Now, notice if you need to turn your left toes out just a little bit or if you like them parallel as they are, and then inhale, sweep your right arm up and overhead, and exhale, little side bend to the left. And you've just got 3 of these. The inhale draws you up and out. The exhale allows you to descend into the shape. And you're just breathing and noticing what's happening on your psoas, your QL, the lats, all that stuff near your ribs and hips on the right side. And then the next time you take a little side bend to the left, we'll go ahead and pause. Walk your left hand to perhaps the top of your left shin. Squeeze your right butt cheek a lot. Reach out through your right fingertips and then see if you can draw your left ribs forward and under a little bit to peer underneath that right armpit. Nice job. Next in-breath, the right arm reaches up and out to bring you up to vertical. Lower both hands back to the mat. And then step your left foot in. Great. Take a few cats and cows here and just notice how this feels in your body. And then when you're ready, you'll go ahead and come to a neutral position. Cool. Highly encourage you to put your hands on your blocks, but you do whatever works for you. Now from here, step your right foot between your hands. Great. The back toes can be curled under or they don't have to be. It's totally up to you, but you're just going to take 3 to 5 breaths, pulsing forward and back, noticing how this feels in your happy hamstrings, noticing how this feels on the fronts of your left leg, and you're just paying attention to what feels good to you. Great. The next time you happen to come forward to that Anjaneyasana position, pause. Press down into your right big toe, your right pinky toe, the inner and the outer edge of your right heel. See if you can push down into that part so much that you can start to feel your right leg activate. Then push down into your left knee. Start to suck those 2 points together and walk both hands to the center of your right thigh. Continue to push down in your front foot. Continue to push down in your back foot. Now see if you can lengthen tailbone down to pull heart and sternum up. And then start to tuck your chin towards your chest and look towards your belly button and notice if that's crazy, intensify that stretch on the front of your left leg. Take a breath in here. Nice job. On your next exhale, gently release your hands towards the blocks and straighten your back leg long. Yep. Pause here. Draw that outer right hip back. Reach your heart and sternum forward and hollow out the belly to lift your belly away from your thigh. Great. Option to stay right here or walk both hands up to the center of your right thigh. Option to stay here looking into your belly, or option to reach your arms up and overhead for high crescent lunge. You choose whichever works best for you for 3 breaths. And we're noticing that wobbles are okay. The brain is learning, we are learning. Nice job. Next exhale, hands come back to the floor. Step back, plank pose. Pause here for 3 breath cycles. Push down through the hands, lift up through the inner thighs. On your next in-breath, reach your heart and sternum forward. And as you exhale, lower through chaturanga and inhale through cobra or up dog, your choice. Nice. And then exhale, lower all the way back down to the floor. Inhale to hands and knees, tabletop position. And bring your hands to your blocks. From here, you'll step your left leg between you or between your hands, and the same thing that you did the first time, pulsing forward and back with your breath, just noticing what this feels like for you. I can't speak for any of you, but sometimes I think of being a superhuman instead of just human. Like there's so many things I can try to perfect and try to improve, and sometimes I just need to let that go. And sometimes I expect others to be superhuman. I think my mom is one of those people that falls into that category. Okay. Great. Next time you come forward into that Anjaneyasana position, we'll pause. Press into the big toe mound of the left foot, the pinky toe mound, the inner and the outer edges of the heel. And you want to see if you can press more into the outer edge of that heel while pressing into the big toe. Now push down into your back knee, suck those points together and walk both hands to the middle of your left thigh. Curl your tailbone down, draw the pubic bone up, belly button in, and look towards your belly button to feel that fun stretch happening across the front of your right quad. Nice work. On your next exhalation, hands come back down to the floor or the blocks. And then straighten your back leg long, coming for a low lunge. Keep drawing that outer left hip back, heart and sternum reach forward, and then see if you can hollow the belly out and away from your thigh just a bit. And then maybe you bring both hands to the center of that left thigh and keep looking under, keep strengthening the back leg. Or maybe you bring the arms out alongside your ears and your spine more vertical for high crescent lunge. And then just notice how this side went in comparison to the last side. Nice job, guys. Exhale, plant your hands on the floor, step back, plank pose, fallen kasana. Awesome sauce. Take 3 breaths here. Notice what you notice. Where can you soften a bit? Where can you strengthen and fortify just a bit? Next, in breath, shift forward. And as you exhale, hover in chaturanga for 3, hover for 2, hover for 1. Inhale, either lower and come to cobra or just slide through to upward facing dog, your choice. And then exhale, lower all the way down. Tuck the toes under. Energize your legs. Lengthen your buttocks, flesh back as you draw your pubic bone to your belly button. And then draw the shoulders up to your ears and draw the shoulder blades onto your back. Lift your head in line with the tops of your shoulders. And when you're ready, inhale, push through the hands and lift up through modified plank or plank. Yep. And then exhale, bend your knees, lift your hips up and back. The first downward facing dog of the day. Happy days. Now, as you're here, take a moment to pedal and wiggle in any way that feels good to you. And then go ahead and come to stillness. Bring the top of your left foot to the back of your right calf. Top of your left foot to the back of your right calf. And just go up and down with that foot to massage and open the right calf muscle. So you're just stretching up and down, pushing the left foot into the back of the right calf. Noticing if you can breathe as you do that. And then go ahead and switch sides when you're ready. Bringing the back of the, or top of the right foot to the back of the left calf and just stroking up and down the leg. Nice work. When you're ready, you'll lower the knees to the mat and come to child's pose for 3 steady breaths. And when you find yourself there, I'd like you to just remember where the breath is in the body, or see where the breath is in the body. Remember that for some of us, to be human means to recognize the humanity in others. And for some of us, it means to recognize the humanity in ourselves. And that all of us at one point started in this same position. All right, let's go ahead and come forward to hands and knees. And then you'll swing your legs around you and put your bum on the floor. Now, once your pelvis is on the floor, I highly encourage you to sit on your blanket, but you don't have to do that if that does not work for you. And then you're going to bend both of your knees, slide your left foot to your outside right hip, slide your right foot to the outside of your left thigh. Okay. And then you're just going to pull that right leg as close to you as possible. And if this is working for you and you're feeling a fun stretch happening on your outer right hip, you'll stay there. Or you might start to push your right knee into your left arm and pull it in. Draw the belly in on the right side and start to rotate your rib cage towards the right. And this is just as much as you want to go. You might then release that right hand back behind you and then rotate through the chest a little bit more. So that left elbow and left shoulder, try to make as much contact with that right thigh as possible. And keep pushing your right big toe mound into the floor. Great. And then very gently you'll unwind. Send both legs in front of you, both knees bent. And then swim that right leg to the outer left hip, left leg up to the outside edge of the right thigh. Start by just sitting really tall and pulling that knee into your chest. And if that feels really good to you, you can just stay here, pulling your left thigh into your chest as you kick your thigh away from you. If you'd like, you'll start to empty the belly on the left side so that you can wrap your right chest region towards that inner left thigh. Keep pushing left knee into right arm into left knee. Maybe you release the left hand back behind you. And then see if you can broaden across the collarbones by emptying the belly on the left side first, drawing the right low ribs to the inner left thigh, and just unwinding from the inside out. Great. As you're ready, you'll inhale and unwind. Cool. From here, you're going to make your way onto your back. So make sure your blocks are somewhere easily accessible to you. Once you find yourself onto your back, just take a moment to pause. Notice if you can really just allow yourself to rest there and let go. The knees might be bent, the knees might be straight, totally up to you, but you're just letting yourself let go. Cool. Now let's go ahead and add on. If the legs are straight, bend your knees and plant your feet firmly on the floor. Bring your hands so they're alongside your hips, and then walk the shoulders underneath you. As you inhale, start to push down through the feet, push down through the backs of the arms, push down through the head to lift your hips high. And then when you exhale, see if you can start to walk those shoulder blades underneath you. Continue to reach the sternum towards your chin away from the sternum. And you'll just take a moment to pause. Continue to press down into the big toes and lift the outer hips up. When you're ready, you'll release your hands, you'll untuck your shoulders, and you'll bring your pelvis back down to the floor. Walk your feet outside of your hips, let your knees knock in, and just take 3 breaths. Let the hands rest wherever is comfortable for you, where you can just let yourself be. Where it doesn't feel like you need to do anything, but you can be a being versus a doer. Great. Okay, let's do that one more time. Bring your feet to their hip distance apart. Bring your hands alongside your hips. Now, this time you might want to grab the outside edges of your mat if that works for you. You might want to robot the arms, but we'll take the same thing. So you'll inhale, push through the feet, push down to lift up. And once you're high, again, start to walk the shoulder blades underneath you. Continue to press down through the upper arms, push down through the feet, and then lengthen your buttocks flesh away from you, creating spaciousness now for you to bring your awareness into the heart, into the space behind the shoulder blades. And just take 3 to 5 more breaths here. As you're ready, you will release back to the floor. Widen the feet out, knock the knees in, and take a moment to pause and breathe. Now I'd like you to check in and notice in your human beingness what feels like it might be a fun thing for your body to explore. And you'll allow yourself to just listen to that impulse. So whatever you're feeling like your body may need at this moment, it might be a twist, it might be Supta Baddha Konasana, you might want a thigh root, but you're allowing yourself in this moment to really just check in and listen. One of the great things about being a human being is our imagination. We have the ability to really listen, to really create things out of thin air and see them into manifestation. And so you're giving yourself that opportunity to do that. And if you notice that you manifest something that isn't quite right, well, we get to try again. We've got about another minute or so doing whatever is feeling really good to you. So really take that time. There is no rush. As you're ready, you'll start to make your way back onto your backs. And you'll just pause and settle once again. Cool. Take 3 breaths here. And then very gently, you'll extend one of your arms alongside your ears and gently roll over to one of your sides and come up to sit. Okay, so let's grab our blanket. And I want you to unfold your blanket so it's about in that folded standard position. Then from there, you're going to take it the long ways and fold it in thirds. Well, roughly in thirds. It might end up being in fourths, depending. Until you have a long thing that looks like this. Then bring this behind you where this flat part is towards the back of your mat on the top, the back end of your mat, and this part will be towards the middle of your mat. So the fringes towards your tail, and then you're going to lay down on this. So your spine will go on this, your butt will be on the floor. This will be right behind your sacrum. Now from here, you might want to have your blocks somewhere close by so that if you want to take Supta Baddha Konasana here, you can draw the soles of the feet together and let the knees open and splay like a book as you support the thighs with those blocks. And then once you're down, you might notice that you want to curl some of that blanket roll up underneath your neck so it feels like you've got a nice support so that the chin is slightly above the chest. Great. And then once you find yourself in this position, take a moment to really scan your body and notice if there's anything that's sort of holding on or uncomfortable. So shifting the hips a little right to left if you need to, shifting the feet a little bit, or shifting the shoulders so it feels like there's a nice opening and softening across the heart space. Great. And we're going to come into this shape by just audibly exhaling our breath 3 times. So let go of any breath that you've got. And then take a big breath in and an audible breath out. And you'll do that 2 more times, allowing every exhalation to soften the body around the blanket into the support of the blocks and the floor beneath you. And now as the breath begins to become quieter, I invite you to consider that every subsequent breath allows you to let go of something else a little bit more. So maybe you notice that tension in the thighs starts to soften. Any tension across the abdomen can soften. Any tension around the heart. Any tension around the collarbones. Any tension around the throat. The jaw. The eyes. Or the forehead. And as you continue to settle in this shape, allow your awareness to continue to notice those parts of the body that might be able to relax a little bit more than just sending the breath there. And you'll remain like this for a few more moments, and I will let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. And just begin to gently check in. So notice what you notice and how you're feeling at this moment. You'll start to invite gentle movement into your physical form in whatever way feels best to you. Gently, you'll make your way over to your right side. And you just pause here for a breath or two. Gently roll your chest more towards the floor. Press into your left hand to free your right hand. And draw yourself up to sit. And when you're vertical, I encourage you to elevate your bum on a block or a blanket. We're going to end with a little bit of pranayama so that we can start our days right. And so just take the time to sit, really adjust your seat. So you might want to remove any flesh from underneath your buttocks. If your room is cold, you might want to cover your body a bit. And then you'll start by just having both of your palms face up, allowing the heart to lead forward and then the head to draw back just a bit. And then on your left hand, tuck your index finger into the bed of your thumb and extend out through the other 3 fingers. Then on your right hand, tuck your middle finger and index finger into the base of your hand. And then draw the thumb to the right nostril and ring finger to the outside edge of the left nostril. Notice if you need to tuck that right elbow in so that you can lift the heart, still coming forward, and the head drawing back. Now gently exhale all the breath from your mouth. Close your lips, close the right nostril and inhale through the left. Top of your inhalation, gently close your left nostril and exhale out through the right. When you need to, draw the breath in through the right. Top of the inhalation, close the right and exhale out through the left. When you need to, draw the breath in through the left. Close the left and exhale through the right. And you'll just continue on your own, alternating between the sides. And for these first few rounds, you're just noticing what you notice as you alternate, drawing the breath in one channel and then out the other. And gradually see if you can even out the breath. So your inhalation is the same length as your exhalation. And so maybe it's a count of 6, maybe it's a count of 9, but you're allowing the in-breath and the out-breath to be the same length. And then as you continue to work with the breath, start to notice how you can even it out so that the beginning of the inhalation has the same amount of energy as the end of the inhalation, and the beginning of the exhalation has the same amount of energy as the end of the exhalation. And so for these last few sets, as the breath is now working towards becoming even, as the flow of breath is working to become steady, notice if you can find a sense of ease in letting go of that space between the two. The next time you exit the breath through your left nostril, simply lower your right hand. And then notice, bring your awareness to the tips of your nostrils and just notice the breath as it enters and exits the nostrils. As you continue to breathe here, you'll inhale your awareness from the tips of your nostrils to the center of your forehead. And then you'll exhale and draw the energy back down to the tip of your nose. You're just noticing the breath coming in and up, and the breath going down and out. Continue to notice where you can soften in the body. And you might find that gradually, by just traveling your awareness up and down the nasal passage with the breath, you might begin to feel a bit of heat or energy begin to gather around the third eye center, middle of the forehead. You might begin to gather your awareness there and just let it rest. This technique is referred to by the name of pranayama. And as you allow the awareness to rest in the third eye center, begin to transfer that awareness next to your heart space. And you'll just take the next 3 to 5 breaths breathing into your heart. Noticing what things you can soften and surrender here. My teacher talks a lot about this notion of really clearing the mind, just so that we can see the wisdom of the heart. For in the heart is where our humanity is said to exist, where we have that compassion for ourselves, where we have that empathy for others, where we have that ability to not only learn and grow, but also forgive. So as you take these last 3 breath cycles here, I'd like you to set an intention of how you wish to go forward in your day. How you would like to either be more empathetic towards others, more compassionate towards self, or even just more curious about what it is we're here on this planet to do. We'll go ahead and complete our practice by drawing our hands to heart center Anjali Mudra. Press your palms into each other. Receive the weight of your thumbs into your sternum and lift your heart towards your hands. Gently exhale all the breath from your mouth. And then take a big breath in. Audible breath out. Bow your chin towards your chest. And then draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. Draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. The light within me honors and salutes the light within you. Namaste.